Welcome to today's Rapid Resilience Briefing. My name is Sean McDevitt. I'm the Director of Product Marketing here at Everbridge, and I'm joined by Adam DeLuca, our Director of Risk Intelligence. Welcome, Adam.
Thanks, Sean.
So, overnight, we saw the collapse of the ceasefire between Palestinian forces and Israel. There's already been some attacks that have taken place in the last 12 to 18 hours. Would you mind giving us a recap of what we've seen happen overnight?
Yeah, of course. I think all of us watching this from afar knew the ceasefire was tenuous, right? So th this is unsurprising that this has happened, but overnight, through a series of attacks, Israel attacked Gaza. Over 400 individuals are known to be deceased, with obviously hundreds more casualties taking place, some including women and children. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of Israel said that this is just the beginning, because that Hamas has not released the hostages and has led to some inflammatory remarks about the Israeli Defense Services, that more of these attacks will be coming. These targeted attacks hit military infrastructure, terrorist sites, some launch sites, and known terrorist cells in the area. But again, these were the first of what are expected to be a few different waves of strikes at Gaza.
Okay. So what do you think we expect to see, perhaps domestically here in the US, but also globally when it comes to these attacks? I'm assuming more civil unrest. I'm assuming there could be some cyber implications as a part of this as well. What do you kind of think is the next step?
Right. So anytime Israel's in a conflict, there's a direct correlation between anti-Semitic events, right? So you can anticipate more anti-Semitism on the rise, specifically around Jewish synagogues, community centers, and whatnot, both primarily in Europe as well as the United States. There will be more protests, I assume, on both sides of the aisle that ramp up based off this. There were a large number of women and children reported to be deceased in this attack that could lead to some pro-Palestinian protests outside of some of those Jewish sites and in some larger cities in Europe and the United States. You mentioned cyber attacks. Obviously, Hamas is proxy to Hezbollah, which is proxy to Iran. Normally when these conflicts do arise, cyber attacks against Israeli businesses and businesses known to support Israel tend to go up. So if you are a US-based company with an affiliation there, you might expect some of the advanced persistent threat groups, the APT groups backed by Iran, to might be a little bit more aggressive in the days following the attacks. More myopically, shipping lanes in the Persian Gulf, the Houthi rebels kind of tenuous part of the ceasefire, they'll be more active in targeting U.S. and Israel ships in the area. In one thing, we talked about it last week or 2 weeks ago about the rise of extremism in not only in Europe, stemming from some of the stabbing attacks, but kind of with domestic violent extremism in general. There might be an uptick in these events in Europe as well. A lot of these domestic violent extremists have Middle Eastern ties. They might be triggered by this event. And as we know, it does not take a lot for some of these DVEs to create an event or create an attack with minimal planning and funding based off of something like this and their ideology. So I would look at some of those to be the main fallout from this event. But again, very early, too early to tell exactly, but I think traditionally speaking, those are the things that customers should look out for.
I think that's super helpful, Adam. And I know obviously this is a continuing evolving situation that we'll kind of keep our eyes on. So I would recommend everyone kind of keep an eye out for our next Rapid Resilience briefing because I'm sure there'll be more news to come in the next coming days and weeks. So thank you, Adam, for joining me. I appreciate it.
I appreciate it, Sean. Thank you.